Hi guys, welcome to my first ever tutorial. For this first one, I thought I'd teach you guys how to paint water droplets using gouache. This was a really popular one, so can't wait to get started. So we'll start by going over the materials that I used in this video. So I am a beginner artist myself, and for this tutorial I used mixed media paper rather than watercolor paper because it's cost efficient. You can buy this at Michael's or Amazon. I think mine was like $12. I don't know, the price could change. I also used Jelly Gouache, the Hemi brand. This is a great beginner set. My only advice is to spray all the gouache with a little spray bottle because they do tend to crust over. But that's really my only complaint. They're water activated, so they're pretty easy to work with. Also have 2 cups of water because one you will use to clean off excess paint and the other one is when you're trying to switch colors. So it'll be helpful to do that. So as I said before, I'm a beginner artist myself, and this tutorial is really to share tips and just get you going. This looks like it might be hard, but I promise you it's not. I decided to choose and create this tutorial because it got a lot of attention on my Instagram, and I thought, wow, I was kind of nervous doing this myself, and once I got done with it I thought, wow, that was really easy. So we'll start off by using some green here. I already had it on my on my palette. So that is one thing I really love about gouache is I can leave colors to dry over my palette. And when I come back, I can just spray them or, add a water droplet or two and reuse them. So we're going to want to do kind of a gradient here, right? This is just going to be our base color and it doesn't have to be perfect, guys. Just layer on those colors. The great thing about gouache is it's opaque, so it works like a watercolor, but the colors themselves are really rich and thick, so you're able to water them down or you're able to layer them on thick. What I have learned over time though is don't layer them on too thick. They start getting flaky, and because they are reactive to water, any kind of humidity will just kind of set that off, right? So as you go in, just add that water, make sure all the colors blend. If you can still see some white from the paper, don't worry about it. This does not have to be perfect. Like I said before, just layer them on. And I don't know if you just saw that, but make sure you're going in a horizontal movement with your brush, and that will help your painting not look as messy. So make sure you get that gradient look. I feel like I probably should have added kind of a darker shade at the top, but that's okay. Like I said, it doesn't have to be perfect. So we got the greenery here. Now we're going to start with the sky. Sky also doesn't have to be perfect. We're going to go for more of a watercolor look. So I'm adding some white mixing with blue. You can barely see it here in the video, but I'm going to add a little bit of blue there at the top. The great thing about this mixed media paper is that while it's cost efficient and it is much thinner than your normal watercolor paper, it still holds up pretty well. So even if you see your paper rising, I mean, don't worry too much about it, but don't add a ton of water either, right? So we went ahead and we added our sky colors, kind of watered down. We'll go back and add some blue there to the sky. And we're really trying to go for that after the storm look. Feel free to, paint maybe a darker gray sky if you're going for a more stormy look. But for this tutorial, we wanted, after the storm look, the sky is blue, everything's humid, and you've got water droplets there on the window. Now we're going to go in and we'll draw in what could be trees, could be bushes. I don't know, right? So don't worry about it being messy. Like I said before, this is just the base. So we're going to just go in and layer in that green. If you, remember or keep this in mind, when you're looking outside of a really foggy window and, you know, it's covered in water droplets, the background tends to be blurry. I mean, there is no, you don't need to add detail, so don't worry about that. Layer it on. It doesn't have to be perfect. At the top, though, go ahead and add a little bit of water, kind of blur it out. I ended up going back and using my finger. I know it's not a good habit. I only did it because it's gouache and it's non-toxic, but even then gouache can still stain your skin, so don't make it a habit. Probably use kind of like a Q-tip or something to blur it out. And you'll see that pretty soon how the water droplets blurred out. So, yep, there I am using my finger. So going in there and I'm blurring out what could be trees or bushes. We still don't know. To me, these were supposed to be trees. I feel like I probably should have added some brown to the branches, but honestly, I'm still really happy with how this looks. So remember, guys, this doesn't look amazing right now. The real details are going to be in the drops. So we'll want to have some black wash there for the drops, and we're going to use the palette that I have for this. Keep in mind that you don't want that black too watered down. If it's too watered down on your brush, it could kind of spread or it could blotch, right? So we'll go in with a really thin brush. Try to get the small thin brushes that are made for the smaller details. So here I'm using this one. Again, I am a beginner artist, so I'm still kind of learning more about brushes, and I'm also trying to be, you know, cost efficient here. So I try to buy what's on sale until I really know what I'm doing, and also just kind of making sure that, you know, they're eco-friendly. So we'll go in, we're gonna draw these water droplets. We want them to be really odd U shapes. And I don't know if you saw there, but see how it kind of layered on thick? I probably had too much water on the brush, so just keep that in mind. As you go in, just keep dipping your brush in black and draw little droplets, big ones, make them big sizes, and little ones. Don't feel discouraged if one of your drops looks weird. I mean, water is not perfect, right? This is just to get those droplets on there. I think the first time I did this, I ended up, I don't know why, I think I just got upset that my drops didn't look good and I threw away my painting. As I've learned, you know, as I've picked up these new techniques, something I've learned is if you don't like the way a painting looks, don't throw it away, don't crumple it up, you know, don't give up, step away from it. I mean, if you have to step away from it for a day, do that. And then come back and, you know, try to figure it out. How can I change this painting, or what can I do to work around that mistake? And over time, I've picked that habit up, and I'm so glad I did. There are tons of paintings that I abandoned, and I really regret it. And now I just kind of go back and I fix my mistakes. So yeah, so back to this painting. Go on and add those details, and then we'll worry about how to make those droplets look realistic in just a bit. So take your time. And I mean, if it helps you know, if you want to copy exactly what I'm doing, also do that. There's no shame. This tutorial is a tutorial for that very reason. I found myself sometimes just pausing and copying detail to detail. And don't rush. Do it on your own time. I think one of my biggest mistakes is when I first started painting, right? Is I get really anxious and I want to rush the artist, right? And then I just start doing my own thing. And then I'm like, it looks nothing like what they just did on their paper. And I'm just like, well, duh. I went ahead and I did my own thing and I never followed the tutorial. So don't get anxious. Don't rush yourself. remember that the only way to learn is by practicing and by, doing tutorials and taking those lessons and being consistent. I can say that at the very beginning, painting looks like it's easy, right? You think that you can just get it. It's a bunch of colors, you throw them together, and voila. And it is absolutely nothing like that. I think I've gotten very frustrated before, and I'm just like, oh, I'm terrible. I'm just going to give up. But I'm really glad I haven't given up. And I started doing this mostly because I really want other beginner artists to not give up. So please don't rush. If you know that you're going to mess it up, like I said, step away from it, or put this video on pause, take a look at your painting, what's missing, rewind, do what you need to do to make sure that you're getting it right. Some things are worth getting right rather than trying to do them fast, because it's really about learning and doing it correctly and being happy with the result. So once you get the bigger droplets in there, make sure that you fill in those empty spaces. Add the little tiny drops, the little U's. Make sure that you don't have anything that looks, naked, right? Doesn't look absolutely blank. You want to make sure that it's a window you're looking out of and it's covered in water droplets. So next, we're going to go ahead and add some shading to those droplets. Make them look a little bit more real. We're going to start by adding some white and some shading to the white at the very top of each drop to make sure that they have a more natural look to them. So make sure to add that white at the bottom. And actually, I got kind of excited here and I started adding the white first, but don't do that just yet. You'll see that I actually realized that and started working from the bottom, right? So I started from the bottom, and what I did is I mixed some white with some green, and I went back after I mixed the white and green and came out with like a not, I don't want to say a lime green, but like a light olive green. And I started adding that shade of green to the top of the droplets, and you'll see that in just a little bit. So there you go. So I went in and I started adding the green, and you'll only add it to the drops that are right over the grass, the bushes, anything that's green, right? So we'll go in, we add that green, and then we start adding the white at the bottom. All the white is kind of like a reflection, and the white's going to go at the very bottom of each drop. Now we're going to go up and work on those top droplets, right? We're going to water down a little bit of a darker blue because the sky is a blue. So we'll add some blue there, and we'll add it to each drop. And it doesn't have to be perfect. As you can tell, it's more of almost like a watercolor look. Make sure not to mix it with the black, or else it's gonna blotch, and because it's watery, you don't want it to spread. So go ahead and add blue to each one. And once you finish adding that blue, you're going to go back and you're going to add the white at the bottom of every drop in the sky. The sky's already a really light color, so the white's not going to pop too much, but I'd say still add it because I think you can tell once you take pictures of your artwork. Maybe in this video, the white's not too obvious, but go ahead and add it to each drop. Here I went in, added all the white, and then I went back and I added some white that I thought was missing down at the bottom. And then you have a beautiful window with droplets. Thanks so much, guys, for watching this and following my tutorial. Please like this video and tag me on your artwork. Follow me on Instagram and let me know what works for you or what you found helpful over time. Thank you again for watching, guys.